Covert, yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah. Kind of like the lifestyle. Covert.
Roll that intro. I am Anonymous Biker USA.
Let's talk about the scariest thing that ever happened to you in your travels.
Scariest thing?
Yeah, the weirdest.
The weirdest? Make up your mind.
The weirdest thing.
You're gonna need another battery for that.
That's all right. I got 3 batteries.
Well, let me pick one. I used to like to sleep outside a lot, and I was sleeping with my girlfriend next to my bike, and we were in Utah, and I woke up with this guy massaging my back. I mean, this guy was doped out or something, because I was dead asleep. He's massaging my, and I wake up, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, oh man, he says, look, I gotta go, but I'll be back to finish this for you later. And he left. I never seen nothing like it. Then I had that cop the other night. That was fun.
Yeah, tell me about that one.
Well, it was raining, so I picked a spot that I might not usually take. Is behind a big building that looks like it's never been used, some kind of indoor swap meet, but I didn't know that. But it's got this big, huge metal roof in the back and concrete. So I put my tent up there, but you can kind of see me, but it's raining. I wake up at 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning, this cop wakes me up, and he's got my door open. I didn't even hear him, man. And he says, hey, what are you doing? Give me your ID. I says, so I pull out my license. I says, well, I was riding by here, and I kind of started feeling like I had the flu, man. So I pulled in here to take a break. He took 3 immediate steps backwards. He didn't want to touch my fucking driver's license. He goes, he says, oh, he stands back with it. He goes, what's your name? He stands with a pen. He goes, I'm not going to run you. I go, I got no warrants, man. He goes, yeah, okay, Neil, see you later. You got to leave. See you later. I went back to sleep. I didn't leave. I was like, I don't think he's coming back.
Definitely
He thought I had the plague. I woke up in Lake Havasu in my tent with a guy pounding on my face, man.
That's scary.
I was dead asleep real early in the morning. And I opened my eyes. I was grabbing for his wrists, trying to grab his wrists, and his old lady got up from next to me. She screamed his name. I still remember her screaming, Billy, and she tackled him back out the door. And by the time I got out of my tent, he was in his car leaving. And it was and she stayed. She stayed. I didn't know. And it was the strangest thing, man, because he ripped my tent. Next day, she come back, give me $150 of his money for my tent. Now that was weird. He gave me a black eye, but it was almost worth it for the new tent.
For the new tent, yeah.
Yeah, I went and bought one with his money. Riding 17 miles of dirt road naked with Kat. I never tell you that, huh? I met her in Prescott, Arizona in town. She asked me to give her a ride home. And I said, so when we get there, this cop pulls in, breathalyzes her, and then he leaves. I said, I'm watching this. I said, what was that? She says, oh, I'm on house arrest. I've been a bad girl. I think it was before the ankle bracelet. I says, or she didn't have an ankle bracelet anymore. I says, that's too bad, because I'm going to the hot springs tomorrow. I was going to invite you to go. She says, I want to go. I said, they're going to put you in prison when you get back. She didn't care. So we took off, and there was a bunch of stuff that happened, but we had to ride 21 miles of dirt road to get to this hot springs. And this road's out in the middle of nowhere. I got a picture of it in there. I got the pictures. This is old stuff. And 3 miles out, I started noticing there ain't no cars, no people, nobody. There's this big, huge canyon next to us. I'm in first gear the whole way, first gear. And I stopped the bike, and I get off, and I starts taking off my clothes. And she says, what are you doing? I says, take your clothes off, Kat. This is on one of my videos.
Yeah.
She says, you seen it? She says, what? I says, take your fucking clothes off. So she did. And we rode 17 miles of that dirt road naked. And I was in first gear, probably took an hour and a half. First gear was just a lot of fun. But Kat was the kind of girl that would do anything. And so she would just do anything. But, you know, as I began to learn more about her, I was thinking, like, she's a real outlaw. Some of the stuff she got away with, she should have been doing life for. And I was like, really, it's just she would get in with the bad crowd and she would do anything. Yeah. That's why I wanted to ride naked with her. She would do anything. Yeah. I started thinking, is it safe to be with this girl? You know, maybe I ought to sleep with a weapon under my pillow or something. But I got along with her great, and that night we slept next to my bike on the ground, and when we got out in the morning when I woke up, she was gone. And I took a walk and I found her in this beautiful waterfall because we were in the mountains. And she didn't know anybody was watching her. She was in this waterfall naked. She was laughing and playing like this little girl. She was just playing like a little kid. And I went and got a camera and I sat in the bushes taking pictures, and I just thought it was beautiful, this outlaw girl who had become like, outlaw woman who'd become like a little girl. But I mean, outrageous stuff. I met that rich girl down in Oaxaca, stayed in a big house with her for a couple months. That's where I learned really pretty much any Spanish I know. We had servants. She was rich. It was a typical poor gringo, poor white boy meets rich Mexican girl story, you know.
Make a movie.
And then there's so much I can't remember it all. Have you seen that? I have a little slideshow, pictures that I keep in here. Sometimes I do for people.
I saw that video you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is a handful of pictures out of 3 boxes of developed film and 2 boxes in a small box of undeveloped film. Those boxes are shoe boxes. But I didn't use to develop the film unless I used it for a magazine story.
Right.
So those are just a handful. There's so much that has happened over the years. I personally am amazed by it. Once in a while I sit and start telling stories if somebody wants to hear them, and I'm just shocked by them all.
Yeah. What was that magazine you wrote for?
Cycle Source magazine.
Yeah.
I'm giving up the magazine though.
Yeah, Cycle Source.
I think the online stuff's getting a lot more popular, and it's working better for me now.
So you got a favorite state you ride in?
I like Georgia.
Yeah.
You've been talking about Georgia.
Yeah.
I love the Smoky Mountains. I like the East more than the West anymore because I like the forest better than the deserts. Southern Utah, I think, is America's best kept secret.
Okay, like Moab and all that?
Yeah, and all out through them road. There's one road that goes across Southern Utah. That's some of the most outrageous places I've ever seen. And it's America's best kept secret.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to the known parks.
Yeah.
So it's like not crazy crowded. It's great, man. Northern Idaho, you been in there?
No, Coeur d'Alene.
They have the most Coeur d'Alene's up in the north,
Yeah.
but in the mountains there, Idaho has the most hot springs of any state in the country. They're everywhere. I used to have 2 hot springs books, hot springs of the Northwest and hot springs of the Southwest, and 1/3 of the Northwest, which goes all the way up into Canada. 1/3 of it's
I used to have a friend that
Idaho.
went to Ketchum, Idaho. You been there?
I don't know.
I don't even know where it is.
I don't remember
Yeah.
if I've been there or no. I think so, though. I really do, yeah. But there's free campgrounds all along the road, and there's hot springs everywhere. You can just go hot springs, hop, and stay in the free campgrounds don't give you nothing, but you don't need a shower.
Right.
You're in hot water every day.
Yeah, you're right. What's the worst place to ride?
I don't know, man.
Mexico?
The deserts in the summer. Mexico's got the worst roads.
Yeah. Like Palm
the
Springs
road,
in the
man.
summertime?
I love the deserts at night
Yeah.
in the warm weather, but
Yeah.
in the day,
Too hot.
yeah. So the plains get to be old. The plains really get old. There's a lot of plains land in the country.
Yeah.
I get tired of that, but mostly I'm crossing them in the summer when it's so hot, and that's one of the things I get tired of them for, because they have their own beauty. Take back roads,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
60 years old now. I'm reading some of my old stories. I'm trying to put this book together for this publisher, but I'm having to put in old stories that I wrote in my 30s, and I was just like talking to a different person. I was just hungry for anytime anything that went weird or into left field or got out, or anytime it went, here I'm traveling and I don't have to be anywhere. Like if something came up and went sideways, I chased it until its inevitable end. I'm not that way anymore, man. I'm mellow. I want to live an easy life now, right? But I tell you one, you ever been to Langtree, Texas?
No.
Where Judge Roy Bean had his thing. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So it's like a nowhere town. They got their little museum, their Roy Bean Museum, and there's like nobody there. So I ride in there. I want to see the Rio Grande. I'm tired, but I want to get to Del Rio that night and stay in Del Rio. But I'm real tired for some reason. I go down to the river. I turn around. I come back. As I'm riding back, there's 2 guys. I told this story before, but I'll tell it on your thing too. There's 2 guys standing out in front of a house, and they're looking at me real hard as I go by, like watching me go by. So I look back at him. So I'm thinking I just smelled an adventure. So I turned around and I come back and I pulled up in the driveway and I'm looking at them real hard. And the one guy says to me, he says, these guys are hillbillies, man. He says, you're the first guy I ever seen around here on one of them things. Ain't got a whole herd of others behind him and a motorhome behind that. He says, well, you might as well come on in, have something to eat. We got some goat meat stew cooking on the stove. So I get off, introduce myself. I'm talking to Clay and Jim Bob. Okay? This is a true fucking story, man. So I get in the house, and it's Clay's house. His buddy Jim Bob's visiting him. I asked him, how many people live in this town? They count up to go 13. 13 people live in the town. Right? So Jim Bob, or Clay, he's drinking beer, but Jim Bob's backing it with whiskey. Okay? So Clay says to me, he says, go on in there and get yourself a shower, boy. You know, while you got the opportunity, go on. So I go, all right. So I grab my stuff. I jump in the shower. I come back out. I don't know if I can remember how to tell this story right, but this is what happened, man. It was the crack. So I sits down and Clay says, he's pretty getting a good buzz going now. He says, it sure did cause a lot of trouble when they found them mayor's nuts in my freezer. And I said, the mayor's, I'm like, what? The fucking mayor. And so Clay says, oh yeah, he says, Jim Bob was working in this town over here, and he was renting this little room or something, and somebody castrated the mayor and stuck his nuts in his freezer. He said, but yeah, it could have been anybody done that. There's lots of people stays in that room, right? I says, and I look back at Jim Bob, and he says, yeah, he says, and they think I'd done it, man, because when I bought my buddy one of them good expensive beers and I give it to him, he went over and give it to the mayor, and I told him, I says, I'm going to castrate that old goat. And I looked at Jim Bob, I looked at Clay, I go, old goat? Like this? I'm like, what? I'm in the middle of nowhere with these two fucking nutbag hillbillies. I go, they were cool, man, and I go, old goat? And Clay says to me, he says, oh yeah, he says, they got a goat for it. He says, every time they got a goat over there for a mayor in that little town. He says, and there ain't no law saying a goat can't be mayor. Every time elections come around, they put his name back up on the ballot, he gets voted in. So, and then they bring him down to the bar because he likes to drink beer, and so people feed him beers. And so I look back at Jim Bob, I says, let me get this straight now. You allegedly castrated the mayor / beer drinking goat, and now they want to send you up the river for 10 years because he castrated an elected official. He says to me, let's get that terminology straight, allegedly. He says, it's a hung jury at this time. I could still be going up the river. Fuck, it's a true story. Google it, it comes up. I'm like, oh my God, this is a true story. And so finally, Jim Bob was riding a little motorcycle. He took off, and Clay, I wanted to sleep outside because it's so quiet and wide open sky out there. And he offered me the couch. I said, no, I want to sleep outside. So in the morning, he came out, woke me up. He says, the door's open, Scotty. He says, there's coffee in there, and there's some bacon and eggs. You go in and make yourself some breakfast, and we'll see you next time you come through, man. And it was cool. So, but any time it got weird and going off in some left field direction, I had this screaming hunger. I kind of miss those days, but I'm 60 now. You got to go with what you are. I'm mellower. I want to live an easy life, moving from my town to town, not chase every crazy thing that comes by. But I'll tell you something, when you live out here like this full time, adventures happen whether you're looking for them or not. You were just telling me about one that happened to you, remember, down south of here a ways. And so they just happen. And I still really, really love that. And even though I've been doing this all these years, I'm still really enthused. I still love it. I couldn't even imagine doing anything else. People ask me what I'm going to do when I get too old. Yeah. I give Panhead Billy's answer, die. Yeah. When you're too old to do this anymore, what you going to die? Yep. I got two friends. We was in Sturgis this year, and we all camp in the National Forest. It's a beautiful place. It's free. And it's 6 miles from Sturgis. It's right downtown. A lot of, anybody can come stay with us who wants to. It's National Forest. They give us a dumpster and a chemical toilet. That's all we get. You got to go into town to get your showers. They're $2 at the rec center. We all know how to do it, right? We all learned years ago. And but there's a campground right up the road that I know a lot of people at, and I visit there. These guys are all hobbling around like a bunch of cripples, and I'm looking at them, and they're my age. Now down at our camp, we got 2 guys who show up. They've both ridden from Vail, Colorado. It's a 500-mile ride. They've ridden their motorcycles in. They put their tents up. They camp. They're staying with us. They're going in to get their showers in town. Both of them are ski instructors in Vail. One of them, the older one, he's been coming for probably 20 years. I've known him. He comes every year and stays, and that's where I met him. Was in this place. And he's an avid bicyclist. He bicycles 12 or 16 miles a day every day, and he's in Vail, like it's altitude and steep. And he loves to go fishing. He's very active. Okay, now one of these guys is 75, and Jay, the other guy who's been coming all those years, is 78.
Wow.
And I'm looking at them going, what's the difference? And Jay Bones, he told me, he said, don't stop. He's had 3 hip replacements. He wore one out. He said, don't stop doing what you always did. You may get slowed down for a while, but pick it right back up. Keep doing what you always did. Yeah. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, how do I get to be these guys? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? How do I get in this camp, stay in this camp over here, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what'll happen there. I don't know the answers. I'm sleeping on picnic tables in a park, having to be out at 6 in the morning. I mean, try riding around being truly homeless, where you don't know where you're going to stay, friendless, and dirty in towns all over the country. It doesn't take too long for that to get old.
Right.
Looking to try to engineer a way that was comfortable enough to work as an everyday lifestyle, long-term lifestyle. I've achieved that. That took practice. So I always tell the guys who want to come out here, it's going to be great for a while, then you're going to hit a hard learning curve. And most guys go home at that point. They're like, this ain't what I thought it was. But if you work out the problems, we've all worked out the same problems in our own way, all the guys that are out here. Once you work them out, that's when you get what you want. The guys who work them out, I've never seen one stop. They all keep going.
Right.
Billy's on the road 35 years now. I think me 24. Joe Sparrow's out, I think 12 now. So these guys have all worked that stuff out. And it's too hard. The old life is so you don't realize how hard regular life is. I had it. It was very hard for me until I quit doing it. I'm like, that was a hard life, man. I think you get tired of living so hard. People ask me, you want to settle down once in a while? You ever get that? You want to settle down? Women ask me that, right? Of course. I'm like, I got 2 problems with it. One is it's a hard life. It's too hard. And the other one is I get bored. Yeah. I get bored, man. We just rode from the city into the country. Wasn't that nice? I'm going to stay here.
Right. Right. This is home now.
For a while, I'm gonna make that place. I never found another place around here I like, and that original one I had ain't there no more. Remember I told you how I came to this town?
Yeah.
To Vanderbilt?
Oh yeah.
But I like the fact that it's country, and I like the fact that it's money, for the simple fact that it's not poor people begging for your change like over in the city over there. You know?
Oh yeah, especially there.
Sleeping in the streets and puke and all that, you know.
Yeah. You don't like that?
I don't know. You like it?
No.
No?
No. Resounding no. I like country.
Yeah, you like country too. Yeah, you're talking about maybe moving to some country.
Yep.
Or more country.
So where's the next stop after this one?
This year I have to go to Asheville, South Carolina to deal with those 2 engines I have. I have to put the S&S back together and sell it, and I have an Ultima. I need to sell those. And I want to spend my time in the Northeast if the sky doesn't fall, you know, and the world doesn't end.
Right.
I want to go to the Wharf Rats rally in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the name of it is?
Yeah.
Because I've never been there. I want to go new places I haven't been. It's getting harder to find them. I don't want to travel the world. That's very hard.
Well, you've been to the whole lower 48, right?
Yeah. I've been to the northern 48 too, and I've been through most of the provinces.
Hawaii?
Too. Yeah, my mom lives there. I went there to visit for a family reunion.
Okay.
Alaska, I spent 6 weeks up there one year.
Wow. What part of Alaska?
Well, I came in through Seward. I rode up on the ships. The ships are great fun. I traded a magazine store. I was doing work for Easy Rider. That's back then, but I only wanted to go to Alaska once. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I've been. It's beautiful.
People there that love it. A lot of people love it.
Yeah, it's nice.
People who love the wilderness.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I'm not a big wilderness guy. But man, there's more people there that love their place than in, I think, any place I've been.
Yeah, Alaska's pretty special.
And I couldn't get used to the sun doing that weird thing.
18 hours of daylight?
I was there in the summer. Yeah, this could be midnight right now, 1 o'clock.
That's true. Get a lot done.
It's
Still
not
ride?
good.
Yeah.
I got enough riding.
That's true. Cool. So anything you want to say to any people out there in the YouTubians?
I got a YouTube channel, Scooter Tramp Scotty. I got a website, so you can just Google Scooter Tramp, Scooter Tramp Scotty, really.
Everybody heard that? Scooter Tramp Scotty.
I guess.
And what's the website?
ScooterTrampScotty.com.
Right.
Ain't nothing else you want to ask me? You got to think of some more questions you could throw in there. You might get something.
Let me see. I got one. How do you get your mail?
What mail?
Exactly. If you want to order something or you need something and you order it, how do you send it to the next town? Where do you pick it up?
What would I order?
I don't know. Something from Amazon?
I'm going to have to learn that someday.
How do you register and insure your bike without a permanent address?
The bike's registered in Montana. Montana's plates are permanent. It says permanent right on the top of that license plate. You buy them once, they're good for as long as you own the vehicle. There's no yearly renewal. My license is out of Texas, but that's just because that's where my last license expired. It was Florida. One before that was
Well, don't they mail your renewals
California.
for your license?
I don't know. I don't know where they'd mail it to.
So you just go back to Texas and renew it when you're going through?
No, I just get it whatever. Get another one in whatever state I'm in.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And my insurance is out of Arkansas.
Okay.
So that was cheaper there.
Okay.
And then my telephone number's South Dakota.
I noticed that when you called.
That's where I was at when I got the phone. And if I want to get mail, I have it sent general delivery, or like with the starter, I haven't it sent to a friend's house. But I get stuff general delivery, but I don't know about Amazon. I've never bought anything. If I'm gonna get something off of there, I get a friend to get it for me usually.
There you go. Like Saddle Tramp?
Yeah. eBay, I've never learned how to do that stuff.
All right, here's one for you. 3 most critical items for establishing a campsite.
I like the tent, especially in the east, because there's mosquitoes.
Right.
The big tarp is a real, the tents always leak, so I have I think it's a 12 by 16 foot tent tarp.
Okay.
You know, I learned that from the guys in Oregon.
Yeah.
Watching them at their rallies. They come in, put their tents up, put tarps, they string tarps immediately into the trees. I figured they know.
Yeah.
I should take a lesson, right?
Yep. Yep.
Oregon, right? Rain all the time. So when it rains, I throw that big tarp over everything. So I'd say the tent, the tarp, of course the sleeping bags if it gets cold. I don't use sleeping bags though, I use blankets.
Okay.
I don't like sleeping bags because you're too confining.
Yeah.
So the 3 most important things, I don't know, man. Look at my junk, I got a lot of stuff. This is all house, except for my jacket up there. Everything else is house.
You got your tarp, your tent, and your blankets.
Well, actually, I got a down quilt in this one, and the one in the back's got 2 down sleeping bags zipped together, but they're not mummy bags. I use them like a blanket
Okay.
when it gets real cold. Otherwise, I lean against them. I put them in the back of the tent and lean up so I can work on a computer. It makes it like a lounge chair in there. The motorcycle charges everything, including the lighting. It charges the tablet, it charges the phones, it charges everything that I have, including my lights. What else? I forget.
What do you do for Wi-Fi?
You know, this new phone I got's got 10 gigs of Wi-Fi on it.
Okay.
So now I have Wi-Fi. I didn't have it before.
So it's like a little hotspot. You can use that for your laptop?
It's got a hotspot.
Yeah.
And the phone's unlimited now. So I remember when I started, we didn't have phones. I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if they'll ever get a telephone in my tent. Now they got goddamn movies in it.
You got Netflix.
Somebody gave me their Netflix thing, and so now I can watch. Netflix doesn't ever have the good movies, but
Entertainment, no less.
yeah, I always read books too, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right.
I learned one thing is that wanderlust is a personality type. There's people who don't have it, and they're happy to stay home. I've known people live in the same town all their lives, they're in their 70s. There's those who love their trips, they have it, but they love coming home.
Yeah.
And there's those who have it in the extreme, and they are not happy unless they're traveling. You see them in the truckers. I didn't really begin to meet them until I was out here. There's a lot of them. And they're always one way or another. They're for their job or whatever they're doing, they're always moving.
Yeah.
And you're not happy trying to be the other one.
Nope.
You got to be what you are. This, guys who want to live on their bikes, guys who want to travel for a season, a month or a season, it's easy. I'm like, just grab what you think you need and hit the road,
Right.
see what happens.
Right.
But to do it year after year as a lifestyle requires learning a whole lot of new stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you know all that before you left?
No.
So you learned it all on the road?
Yeah.
Wow.
I started by taking sometimes week and 2 week trips just into the neighboring state of Arizona from California. And the trips started getting longer and longer, and I started hating coming home, and I started hating when I was home. All I wanted to do was leave again. I was just like so alive out here. Out here my spirit came alive. You know, the things I used to wish that I was going to get to do someday if I worked hard and saved my money for 2 weeks, we do them all the time.
Right.
It's just everyday life to us. People want to go to Sturgis or something. I'm like, I'm there for 3 weeks every year. You know, this year I don't want to go, so I'm not gonna.
Right. You think they're gonna cancel it?
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
So, what was I talking about, man?
How you got started?
Oh, so I started hating coming home. So I was hungry for knowledge.
What mindset would you have to have your lifestyle?
It takes a certain kind of insanity.
As I rode away from Scotty, I left feeling enlightened and grateful for the opportunity he provided for a glimpse into the day with the motorcycle vagabond. So I won't say goodbye, but rather, until next time, my friend.